Mike, how come we always choose the worst days to pick up these cars? This is the worst blizzard we've ever picked up a car in.
I'm actually really surprised. Why is a lot of people on the road today? There's a lot of people out and about.
This is the first winter in a long time here in Ohio where the weather reminds me of what it was like as a kid. All right, we're here in the winter wonderland. I feel like we're in a snow globe right now. Somebody just shook it up.
Yeah.
So how'd you find this thing?
That's one of my dad's customers. My dad does lawn care around here, so he plows the driveways.
Okay.
He's always buying and looking at stuff.
Yeah, let's see it. Whoa. Wow, look at this garage. Holy smokes. I did not expect this garage to be this bad. So I'm confused. I thought this was a Malibu, or rather an Impala, but it says Bel Air on it. Which is it?
I think they're about the same.
I always knew that Chevy had a lot of crossover, I think, with the Malibu and the Impala, but I didn't realize that the Bel Air and the Impala had a lot of crossover as well.
This car looks crazy.
It does look crazy. Open the door, check out the interior. Wow,
Dude,
that's
it's all
crusty.
red.
Looks like someone dumped baking powder all over the seats.
Dude, it's
Really nice in there. Look at the dash. There's not a. Oh my God, it's perfect. Yeah, that's actually the most impressive part of the whole entire car. That dashboard is perfect. I said when we were driving here, it looks like a snow globe, but this literally looks like a barn find snow globe. I'll have to get some more information on the Bel Air, but we've done 57 Chevy Bel Airs, and obviously the design cues are ridiculously different. I have to learn a little bit more about this. A potential buyer is here, and he knows a lot more than I do about this, so I think we're gonna bring him on camera and get some of the backstory and see what this car really is, because I'm still confused. I thought it was an Impala.
My name's Frank, and your
Frank,
name?
I'm RJ.
RJ.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice
So
to meet
you're
you.
a potential buyer on this car. Why do you want it, and what is it exactly? Because I'm still confused.
I look at a car like this as a time capsule. The four-door weren't really highly desirable for collectors, but as time's gone on, you're looking at a car like this, it's 60 years old or so. They become more desirable just because you don't see them around anymore. This is truly a survivor.
Absolutely. You see a lot of the 57 Chevys, but you definitely don't see Bel Airs from this time period. And I've worked on even older Bel Airs, but I didn't realize how much the design cues had changed over the years. It's like a totally different car. So what are your plans for it if you end up purchasing it?
Drive it, and drive it every day. I try to put them back the way they were from the factory. Make it reliable. Mechanically, I don't really concentrate too much on the cosmetics of them. Again, I'll drive that thing back and forth to work every day, and every day in the summer. That's how I do it.
That's really flipping cool. I hope that we're able to clean her up and make her look pretty again and make you enticed enough to purchase it.
Guys, I've seen your work. I know you guys do nice work.
All right, so on the way here, we passed a Big Boys that apparently has a brand new menu. And so I just bet Mike, a burger from Big Boys, that this tire will not hold air.
I bet you all four tires hold air.
All four?
All four.
Is that the bet? All four have to hold
At
air?
least for like
Until we get back to the shop?
yeah,
Or
that
in the
kind of
trailer?
thing. Because it's gonna one of them will probably leak. At least one will probably leak at the shop.
Big Boy Burger.
Deal.
Oh.
All these old tires, man, they always hold air. The new tires are made out of junk. All the writing from the tires like imprinted into the ground over here. Whatever this is.
What kind of tire is it? A Goodyear?
I think it's an Eagle or something. I don't know.
Tire number 2. That one I think is going to hold.
Come on.
Yeah, it's going. Look at this old receipt machine. Or, what do you call these? Cashier. Ching, ching, ching.
We need one of those for WD Auto Supply.
Yeah.
We can write receipts.
Is it holding?
I don't hear any hissing besides they're going in.
Actually, what is this, everyone at home? It says Monroe. It looks like some kind of receipt machine, but I don't know. It's not like any one
What
that I've
is
ever
it?
seen. All right, my last opportunity to win a Big Boy Burger. Oh, come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Dang.
I finally win one. That's sick. Think all the wheels are gonna roll, Mike? Well, let's see. They're gonna be locked. Oh no. This is gonna be a mess.
So while we attempt to get the car out of the garage, I want to say this video is being edited the day of RJ's birthday. So today, Friday the 24th, is RJ's birthday. So make sure you guys spam the comments with happy birthdays to RJ. But this was not a fun pickup. It was very, very cold out in Ohio this day. I want to say around 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and the snow was not letting up. So we had to shimmy the car over and slowly drag it into our trailer, eventually getting it in there. But keep watching the video because this transformation is super satisfying, especially the interior and the paint came back to life. Mike, I found something in here I want you to see.
The gas can? Nice.
You ever seen that before?
Not in a can like this.
When were they making 1 gallon of gas in a can?
And there's still some liquid in there.
All right, back with the Bel Air. First impression is this thing is the true definition of a boat. I think this is one of the largest vehicles that we've ever had on the channel. I think it's even bigger than that Cadillac Hearse that we had filmed a couple years ago. Why are you looking at me?
No way, dude. It is nowhere near as large as that car, but this thing is huge. And something that I had no idea was that this car even existed. I always thought the Bel Air was always in the 50s. And we've done a 50s Bel Air on the channel before. I thought that was the only one. I didn't think they continued to make them, and I'm actually glad to find out because I think this thing looks pretty cool.
Well, that's why I kept thinking that it was a Malibu, because this is what the Malibus looked like from that time period. But they generally were 2 doors. And I think there's a difference in the rear here, if I'm not mistaken.
So what I learned from Frank when we were picking this car up was that the Impalas and Malibus of the time actually had 3 tail lights, and this was the working class man's vehicle, so it had 1 less. Another interesting thing on the car is this sticker, the Southeast Chevrolet Cleveland, which means this car was probably bought and sold in Ohio from new. So from 63 to now, this car's been in Ohio.
It's older than my parents, which is nuts. My parents are getting old. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. Anywho, so but the actual condition of this car, on the outside at least, is pretty rough. Obviously, we have all this snow that we have to wait for it to melt in order to actually start the pressure washing process, but we have a ton of organic debris all over the vehicle.
While the exterior is in extremely rough shape, the interior seems to be in really good shape, although it is dirty. But this has to be one of the nicest interiors we've found, especially on a car that's this old. So I'm really excited to get this back together and get this all cleaned up to see how nice we can make this red interior shine.
And that's the mission for this video, is to try and get this thing looking so nice that the gentleman that you guys saw in the beginning of the video, Frank, wants to purchase it. So leave a comment if you think that we can make this nice enough for Frank to actually want to purchase it. All right, so obviously before we start washing the wheels, we're gonna try and find a spare tire to replace this tire with. As Mike would say, it has seen better days.
And luckily we let this car defrost and I could finally get into the trunk, so let's see what we have. Hey, we do have a spare. And a lot of water.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
You could fit quite a lot of things in this trunk.
Yeah, as you can see, this is, oh, it's a block of ice.
The pump is frozen in there. All right.
Oh yes.
Everybody knows these are the rules. When you find a big slab of ice, there's only one thing to do.
Oh yes. So luckily there is a spare tire, so we're gonna pull this out and get it on the car. Oh God. This thing was frozen out here too.
Now that's a trunk for Jimmy Hoffa. Everybody in the comments, what would you put in this trunk? I'd put 2 mics. I'd put a mic and I'd put a Brent in this trunk.
Are you calling me overweight?
What?
You could at least fit 4 of me in there.
All right, now it's time to clean the wheels, and we're gonna be using our WD Auto Supply tire cleaner and our WD Auto Supply purple rain cleaner. But truthfully, the wheel cleaner isn't going to do much just because these wheels are in really, really rough shape and they're rusting pretty bad. But the tire cleaner is gonna do a great job of breaking down all the blooming, all the staining, and it's gonna brighten up these white walls and make them white again. So the before and after is gonna be sweet.
So for the front end, we actually ended up giving you guys a 50-50. And as you'll see, our pre-wash breaks down the grease and grime that's been sitting on this Bel Air for over 35 years. We prefer to use our pre-wash at a 1-to-1 ratio with water, but it can also be mixed at lesser ratios like 4-to-1 for all your at-home needs, meaning it'll last you even longer. And I don't just recommend pre-wash on barn finds like the cars that you see us do. I highly recommend using it on your own cars at home before you wash them. It'll help you get a lot of that dirt and grime off before using our cherry suds, and it'll make a night and day difference on the final result of your wash. And if you guys are interested in any of the products you see us using in this video, they're all in the link in the description below. All right, Mike, let's get into the engine. I think by this badge, it means it has a 6-cylinder, right?
It most definitely does have a 6-cylinder in it. I know this because me and RJ had to mess this hood for quite a while to actually get it open. It was frozen shut, but luckily with a little bit of WD-40 and some prying, we got this guy to start working.
That's really rusty.
It is really rusty, and it is, if you can tell, really, really, really greasy. I'm not sure exactly what size displacement motor this is, but I do know it is an inline 6 from Chevy. One thing that is super cool about this engine bay, and I was really excited when I first opened the hood to see it, is this bottle right down here. So this bottle would come with the car, I believe. You definitely don't see stuff like this anymore. I'm sure a lot of these bottles have just been broken and thrown away. So to see one intact still in the car, I'm probably gonna clean this off camera. I'm gonna try not to damage this actual label as much as possible and then put it back in after I'm done with the engine bay because I wanna keep this as intact as I can. Judging by the outside of the engine, it does look, you know, really old, really rusty, but it all depends on the inside. As long as no moisture got into this motor and it's not locked up, there's a good chance that this thing could work. So, I mean, it's definitely gonna need some going through to get it running, but Frank seems like he'd be all about getting this thing back on the road, and that's what I really wanna see. So I think it could still have some life. As you guys can see, this car has a ton of grease buildup on this valve cover, and we're gonna be using our citrus degreaser to try to get all the grease that we can out of this engine bay so that if Frank buys this car, he has a clean engine bay to work on.
All right, Mike, it looks like the citrus degreaser actually works so well. We unveiled a plaque here. It says 230. Does that mean this is a 230 engine?
Yeah, that probably means, if I were to guess, that probably means it's a 230 cubic inch engine, which is somewhere between like 3.5 or 4 liters, which makes sense for an inline six of this time period. So let us know down below if that's actually right. But
How much horsepower do you think this makes?
now this is good because I really have no idea, but I'm gonna guess this car made about like 89 horsepower.
Hold
Hold
on. Before you finish your sentence, what does it say underneath 230? Is it turbo thrift? What does that say?
It does say turbo thrift.
What does that mean?
I have no idea. There's no turbo lurking around here. I can see.
What the heck is a turbo thrift?
I really don't know. I don't know. If that actually means something, let us know. But I've never heard of that before. I'm gonna have to look it up actually.
Now, I know you guys usually only see us use iron kryptonite on the paint, but we also use iron kryptonite on the metal too, because it really helps us remove rust. So we use 4-aught steel wool, which will minimize scratching, and then all of the iron in the rust will start turning purple, which is what iron remover does, and we'll get it close to looking like the day it left the factory.
Moving on to the interior of this Bel Air, and I have to say, this is one of the nicest interiors from the 60s I've ever seen. I actually like it way more than I thought I would. I mean, giant steering wheel is a little silly because I feel like kind of like a bus driver with it. But besides that, I think the layout is actually really beautiful. The dashboard's down low, slim profile, easy to read. Everything's designated here for you to see what does what. Like, this setup is really pretty and it's in really, really good shape. This car says it has 31,000 miles on it, and for a little bit I thought maybe it wasn't true from the exterior of the car, but as an interior aspects, I think it might actually be true. There's no wear on the seats, there's no wears on the door, there's no wear really anywhere. Like I said, I think that this is gonna come out really, really nice on the inside. Now, one thing I am really concerned about is what the heck is this on the seat? Is this mold buildup or is this something else? I'm not too sure. I'm not gonna spend much time in here. I'm gonna get out of here, get a mask on, and then remove these seats so we can get them cleaned up. All right, guys, so me and RJ just got the seats out of this Bel Air, and I found something that I've never come across before, and I'm not 100% sure of what it is, but I'm gonna show it to you now, and we're gonna see if I can guess what it is, or maybe I'm totally wrong, and maybe you guys will tell me what it is. But I found this under the driver's seat, the passenger seat. Now, it looks like it's some kind of like, maybe like an orange or a grapefruit, but it must have been in here so long that maybe something went inside of it and ate it, because it is completely hollow. I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think.
And now for all this mold or this white stuff on the interior that we're not sure exactly what it is, we're gonna put our interior cleaner to the test, and you guys will see just how great it is of a cleaner and how much it aided us in this transformation.
Okay, now it's time to polish the Bel Air. Obviously, there is a ton of rust, surface rust that's all over the vehicle. We even have some areas with holes in them. I don't exactly know what I'm supposed to do. I'm assuming this is single stage lacquer, and I do know that the potential buyer wants to pretty much drive this thing as is. He doesn't really care about the condition, but I still want to make it shiny for him because I really want him to buy this, and I really want him to drive it again. So I think I'm going to use a foam pad, a light polish, and I just want to pull off the oxidation and make this car look as black as possible. I want it to reflect at least some light, but obviously there's not going to be a ton that I can do with the condition that it's currently in. But we're going to try our best and see what we end up with.
Oh my gosh, that thing looks great.
A little bit better, right?
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah.
They really come back nicely.
I'd say so. I mean, the outside bumped and bruised, and
Oh yeah, that gives it the character. You
Yeah.
gotta have that, you know?
it grew on me. It grew on me a lot as we worked on it more and more, especially when you pull that door open and take a look at the interior.
You know, I'm thinking this car might be a survivor, or a true survivor.
I think so. If you look at the brake pedal, gas pedal, there's almost zero wear. No rips, no tears. Every piece is there. Nobody was dismantling and removing things. It's actually really nice to see something like this in such good condition, even if the outside has a lot of bumps and bruises all over it. But the paint even came back pretty
It sure
nicely
did,
too.
sure did. Wow, it's way better than I would have expected.
That was the
Nice.
goal.
Yeah.
That was the hope. So what do we have to look at further for you to make a decision on whether you're going to fix this thing up and drive it?
Well, you know, I guess I just want to make sure that it's structurally sound. I want to look at the back, because these were known to rot back there a little bit. And as long as the frame is in good shape, the mechanical part of it is what I actually enjoy doing. I'll take a car like this and just go through it mechanically so that I can take this thing to Florida if I wanted to. and drive it every day, because these cars, they're meant to be driven.
Absolutely.
And this is an iconic piece. You know what I mean? It's like, this is 1963 right here. I would say that this thing actually, from what I'm looking at right here, looks pretty good. You know, it's, again, you know, you're just looking to see the structural part of it, and that looks like it's all intact. There's some surface rust here. These were known to leak around the back windows and the gasket around the trunk, you know, but that's all the little stuff that I actually like to fix, so that, you know, the thing, you know, doesn't load up with water when you get a rainstorm. I'm just going to take a quick look here, you know, underneath. Now there is a little bit of rot here on the where the bumper is, but it's not terrible. Need to get a flashlight. A lot of this just seems like surface rust.
Let me go ahead and grab you one.
I didn't even look and see what type of springs this had. Looks like it's got coils. It sure does. I don't see anything. Looks like a lot of that's just surface. You know, so I guess you get under there with a wire brush and clean everything up and see what you got. But from what I'm looking at, it's something I could work with.
Yeah, so to be honest, I didn't even put a socket on the crank because I'm almost positive that this thing is locked up, especially since, you know, 3 out of the 4 tires were locked up.
Well, you know what? Back in the day, we used to just kind of grab the fan blade and pull the belt a little tight and just kind of roll the motor.
Oh my God.
Oh, you know what? This thing's turning.
All pulleys are moving.
Look at that. Yeah, I would say this
Wow.
motor is definitely going to be okay. You know, I mean, it's turning. That's big.
It's shaking off the rust,
Oh yeah,
literally.
but it's definitely free.
So when you have something that's a little gummed up like that, what's the, I've heard people saying transmission fluid, and then you work it back and forth to make sure you don't score the
Yeah, I mean,
cylinders?
I would probably, first move would be to pull all the spark plugs out and put a light oil in there, WD-40, a little bit of automatic transmission fluid. These are all good things. Sometimes I even take a little compressed air and, you know, just kind of blow the holes out a little bit and then just kind of start easing the motor over nice and easy. And then the next move I would do is take a compression check. If we got good compression in the holes, the next step is probably just cleaning up the points and doing something with this carburetor and the fuel system, and we'll light this thing.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. That's a nice surprise. How many cars do you have?
I have 6 cars, actually. And my oldest being a 50 Buick Special.
Cool.
It's a jetback, it's a straight 8 car, very similar condition to this.
So you said you had 6 cars. What are the odds that this becomes a 7th?
Well, you know, my wife is saying, you know what, I don't care if you buy it, but you're not parking it here because the city's gonna send us a letter. So, but I do have you know, I'm self-employed. I'm in the construction business with my family, and there's plenty of room over there, so they said I could bring it over there and maybe even have a spot indoors for it.
So you've already been making plans.
Yeah,
Were you sold before
yeah.
we finished, or?
I'm actually, you know, now I got to talk to the guy. If the price is right, I'm inclined to buy this car.
I'm gonna count that as a success.
Very
Frank.
nice job.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you for coming out and giving us the reveal and I guess the final verdict. And thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate all your support and your viewership. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like this, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next week.